Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio. So today, I am bringing you my third video of the day. There's another GX to look at. I've got to do a video about White Kyurem-GX. Too much news, ladies and gentlemen, today. Too much news. Please show me you appreciate it by liking this video, checking out the others, liking them, etc. But, I mean, by now you guys should know there's no way I'm not going to make videos about all these new cards. It's not the way I'm built. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at White Kyurem-GX. And the great news is the bar has been set really low because there were two White Kyurem-EX and they both really sucked. We are off to a good start with 190 HP. This is really big. Now, firstly, it's big because it's high, and secondly, it's big because there is a huge difference between 180 and 190 HP. Now, generally, I would use Gardevoir as one of the examples here, because Gardevoir would need 7 energy, not 6 in total, but of course, you know, you're being hit for weakness because you are weak to Fairy here. Not the best example, so let's use Tapu Bulu. Tapu Bulu discarding the energy does 180. Generally, that would be a KO. But not when you got 190 HP, so they're going to need something like a Choice Band as well. That is really big. 190 to 180 really does make a difference. Of course, this weakness to Fairy could be an issue, but hopefully the new Solgaleo is going to come along in October and help us out, so it could be a little bit worse. Retreat cost of 3 is very large, but we do have Heavy Ball here, so that's kind of nice. And you're a basic Pokemon. So a basic Pokemon means that you could use Fighting Fury Bout to give yourself a little bit of extra bulk, but it also means that you have access here to Max Elixir, which is really nice in terms of helping you to get this energy on here, because one of the things we're going to see about this, it's a really good card, but getting the energy on could be a bit of an issue. And I can finally say that being a dragon Pokemon is good. You're hitting nothing for weakness, which is an issue. But you've got Devoured Field, which allows you to do an extra 10 damage. You've got the new Altaria, proper video on that coming soon. But long story short, it means your dragon Pokemon do an extra 20 damage, which is lovely. And you've got Zinnia, a card on which I did a video very recently, as in a couple hours ago, which allows you to attach an extra 2 energy from your hand to a dragon Pokemon, as long as you had a Pokemon KO during the previous turn. All of this goes to say that dragon Pokemon are now good. But what does this card actually do? And as always, do remember that there will be timestamps in the description if you ever want to flick to a particular attack. 1 fire energy, 40 damage. Damage from this attack is not affected by any effects on the defending Pokemon. So you're going to be going right through things like, let's say, Jolteon's Flash Ray. Flash Ray's good because it prevents any damage from basic Pokemon the following turn. Oh no, wait, because you will totally go right through that. Think about something like Dawn Wings Necrozma, a really useful GX attack that means that you are impervious to all effects of attacks including damage the following turn. Unless somebody comes along and uses an attack like this. Now, the downside is you're only doing 40 damage, but time you had a Choice Band, Devoured Field, and Altaria, now you're up to 90 damage, which is going to be 2-hit KOing a whole bunch of stuff. This is not really an attack you're going to be relying on very often. There are 2 situations where you're going to be really focusing on this attack. You're going to be focusing on it if your opponent has an attack like Flash Ray, which would prevent other Pokemon in your deck from attacking it. And you're going to be using this if you can only get 1 energy on, or if you only need to get 1 energy on. 40 damage isn't a lot, but sometimes 40 damage or 70 with a Choice Band is enough to get a KO. Sometimes it will be useful. But the main attack here is the second attack. Fire, Water, Colorless Energy, 80 damage, but if this Pokemon has any damage counters on it, you do 160. And this is really nice. Now, first of all, the energy cost here is awkward, because it's a fire and a water and a colorless. Now, we've got options. In the expanded format, you can use double dragon energy, which would be any 2 here. You can use Max Elixir, although there's no guarantee whether you'll hit fire or water, so you could end up hitting, say, 2 fire and not having the water that you need. You can use Volcanion and Power Heater here to accelerate a little bit of energy. And don't, of course, forget Zinnia. Zinnia will allow you to attach an extra 2 energy from your hand to this Pokemon, as long as you had a Pokemon KO'd the previous turn. But you've got to have the energy in your hand in order to be able to attach them using Zinnia. So the energy here, bit of an issue, but we've got ways around it. As for the amount of damage you're doing 160. This is awesome. We saw with Buzzwole doing 160 is great. We saw with Raichu that doing 160 is great. You had a choice band, you're going up to 190. There's a KO on stuff like Buzzwole or Ho-Oh. You had an Altaria as well, and you're now up to 210. There's a KO on stuff like Zoroark. And having a choice band and an Altaria really isn't that difficult. A stage 1 and a tool. It's not the hardest combo ever. It is a basic Pokemon that can get a one-hit KO on most threats. That is something which is going to be very, very useful. Yeah, the energy cost is a bit of a pain, but we've got plenty of ways around it. What might be a slightly bigger issue here is the fact that you've got to have some damage on you. Now, the good news is here that with 190 HP, you can take a hit or 2. Now, I should mention at this stage, this is not the same as Drampa's Berserk. Because Drampa's Berserk is if any of your Pokemon have a damage counter on, or I should say any of your benched Pokemon, whereas this is only if you've got damage on White Kyurem. And annoyingly here, Drampa often uses stuff like Po-Town, but Po-Town only puts damage onto a Pokemon when it evolves, which you can't do with White Kyurem-GX. If you're in the expanded format, you can always use Team Magma's Secret Base and put 2 damage counters on you and then you're off. But of course, the other thing we can use here is just Rainbow Energy. Rainbow Energy will put that damage counter on you, then you play a Zinnia and you are off and rolling. So yeah, it's a bit of a pain, but Rainbow Energy can help you here. And when you're playing a Pokemon like this, in the early game, you're just using Volcanion to accelerate energy, and then as soon as your opponent takes a KO, that's where you bring in Zinnia to accelerate the energy, and you are off and rolling. So first attack is useful, second attack is great, GX attack, I'm not in love with the GX attack. It's fine, but it's not amazing. First thing, and long-time viewers will know how much this annoys me, there is an extra energy cost for the GX attack. There's an extra fire energy you need, which means you attach an extra fire to do the GX attack, and that is the one attack in the entire game that will be useful for. As soon as you use your GX attack, that extra energy is pointless because you're now overpaying for the rest of your attacks. I do not like attaching extra energy, ladies and gentlemen, just for the GX attack. Boo! Etc. With that out of the way, it's a good attack because you do 200 damage plus burn plus paralysis, although the paralysis here is going to almost always be completely irrelevant. Now, 200 damage means you straight away get a KO on something like a Buzzwole or a Ho-Oh. But under the new burn rules, then burn does 20 damage, then your opponent flips a coin. If heads, they're no longer burned, if tails, they are, and that happens between turns, after your turn, after their turn, etc. Which means you're actually always doing 220. So there's a KO on Zoroark and there's a KO on Golisopod. You had a Devoured Field, you hit 210, plus the burn is 230, so there's a one-hit KO on Gardevoir, probably the biggest threat to you. And if you pop a Choice Band on there, then with burn, you're doing 250. Or if you have a Devoured Field and an Altaria, you're doing 250. Or if you have a Choice Band and an Altaria but no burn because your opponent turns it off, you're doing 250. And 250 really is the upper level you need to hit for things like Solgaleo GX. So even though you get automatic paralysis with this attack, I mean, 99% of the time you're going to be getting a KO here, so the paralysis is going to be entirely pointless. Maybe in the future we get a card that does more if you paralysed an opponent the previous turn, in which case a paralysis here will be great. But as it stands at the moment, it's going to be largely irrelevant. I don't know, maybe your opponent plays something like a Comfy to turn off special conditions, but like I've said, against a Gardevoir, just play a choice band and you're getting a KO even without the burn. So as much as I love this, it's a one-hit KO at some point during the game. The real selling point of White Kyurem is this second attack. And you've got to have damage on you, which is kind of annoying. And the energy cost is kind of annoying. But you've got a basic Pokemon that can one-hit KO almost anything with a second attack. And anything with the GX attack. And it's got a mildly useful first attack. I'm giving this 4 Wassies. It's not the best card ever, but as a basic Pokemon that can hit the numbers, yeah, I'll go along with that all day long. But maybe you won't go along with that. Well, good news, ladies and gentlemen. There's a comment section, and that is where conversations like that belong. So go nuts, but be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and so on, you can do so by going to patreon.com/PTCGRadio. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.